Our sincere apologies for starting a bit late. The Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project (SERAP) has urged President Muhammadu Buhari to issue an immediate moratorium on borrowing by the federal government and the 36 states to address a systemic debt crisis, prevent retrogressive economic measures, and the disproportional negative impact of unsustainable debt on poor Nigerians. The request followed the recent approval by the National Assembly of President Muhammadu Buhari's request for a $5.8 billion loan and a grant of $10 billion. Previous approvals in 2021 alone include $8.3 billion, 490 million euro, and $6.1 billion. The foreign debt stock of the federal government, the 36 states, and the Federal Capital Territory reportedly stands at $37.9 billion. In an open letter dated 18th of December 2021 and signed by the SERAP Deputy Director Kolawole Oluwadare, the organization said a moratorium on borrowing would create a temporary debt standstill and free up fiscal space for investment in Nigerians' needs, as well as ensure sustainable economic and social recovery from COVID-19. SERAP said without a moratorium on borrowing, the government and many of the 36 states may be caught up in the process driven mostly by creditors' needs. This, they said, will result in exorbitant social costs for the marginalized and the vulnerable sectors of the population. In security matters, operatives of the Nigeria Police Intelligence Response Team, working with the Taraba State Police Command, have arrested a total of 11 notorious kidnapping suspects in Taraba State. According to the police spokesman, Frank Mba, the suspects were apprehended for their complicity and various criminal roles in the recent kidnapping incidents in Taraba. These incidents include, but are not limited to, the kidnapping of 7 personnel of the Nigeria Customs Service, kidnapping of a relative of the Emir of Jalingo, the killing of a police sergeant in Jalingo, the Taraba state capital. CP Mba further disclosed that the police team equally recovered 7 AK-47 rifles, 2 Beretta pistols, 121 rounds of live ammunition of different caliber, 4 magazines, mask, illicit drugs, and other incriminating items during raids of various hideouts of the suspects in the state. The arrest of the suspects follows the deployment of operatives of the Intelligence Response Team by the Inspector General of Police, RGP Usman Al-Khali Baba, to Taraba State to complement the efforts of the State Command in promptly containing the disturbing trend of kidnapping, armed robbery, and other violent crimes. People with eye problem in Osun State can now heave a sigh of relief as the state government inaugurates a comprehensive eye care development project to treat thousands in need of such help. The project was facilitated by a social services organization, the Lions Club International, with a projection of to conduct 26,000 cataract operations, treat 115,000 cases of glaucoma through medications. Other benefits include providing a total of 145,000 spectacles and treatment of 100,000 other eye conditions such as foreign bodies, trachoma, accident cases, burns, and scars. The project team said the organization has also purchased a 1-unit Toyota Hilux van for the outreach campaign on regular eye care in the 3 senatorial districts in the state, with plan to conduct 12 outreach campaigns yearly. Flagging off the projects, the state governor, Wega Oyetola, reiterated his administration's priority on health of citizens as expressed commitment to fully utilize the project to the benefit of Osun State residents. The governor said with the state-of-the-art equipment, it will add a new dimension to existing eye care services in the state. The project's chairperson, Kola Oyekomi, who expressed gratitude that the project has come into fruition as conceptualized, mentioned it will enhance eye care in Osun State. He acknowledged the state government, including officials of the health ministry and the management of the state specialist hospital, for their support and cooperation while the construction work was going on. Meanwhile, the district governor, Kayode Oshinoga, mentioned that the project came as a result of the need of the club to scale up intervention in the area of eye screening exercise, saying it will be comprehensive to take care of all aspects of eye.
God, that the project has been completed, is now ready for use. Hence, are gathering here today for the inauguration. I wish to note that the Lions Club International, with the full support of my government, renovated an existing structure at the State Specialty Hospital at Osogbo and equipped the building with state-of-the-art equipment with the goal of providing excellent eye services to our population.
Nigeria's former surveyors, GF Odusonya, has said equity, justice and fairness for all segments of society were imperative in the pursuit of unity in the country. Odusonya spoke on the roles the leaders must play to engender unity in a book titled The Mission and Ministry of Jesus Christ. Odusonya specifically said ethnic leaders and religious leaders must do the necessary work of educating the public about the need to live together in peace. It is the elites, the leaders, that will do the job of ensuring unity in our various communities. Speaking at the event also was the University Don Professor Bright Adetola of Olabisi Onabanjo University, who said Odusonya was right with his submission in the book that payment of tithes was not a matter of compulsion and mere benefit of the church leadership, but for redistribution of wealth for the sake of less privileged people. The former University of Benin lecturer and erstwhile Director of Science and Technology in the Federal Ministry of Education described Odusonya as a huge blessing to humanity and a man of great talents and Spartan discipline who would never give or take bribe from anybody regardless of the circumstance.
All day to listen by prayer, you then know by the name of me. I want this Nigeria to be first among people. And all the destructive forces, Boko Haram, and all forces will vanish by the grace of God. So I want in Nigeria a perfect, peaceful, and progressive Nigeria.
If you want to live in a society where there is peace, where you want peace, progress and development, you first need equity, justice and fairness. So the book brought out the importance of equity, justice and fairness. You know, you must interpret the Bible justicably, you must interpret the Bible with fairness, you must interpret the Bible with equity and the fear of God.
The Director of Nigeria Educational Research Curriculum Development, NERDC, Dr. Dada Shonibare, has said history is not a worthless career to be pursued locally and internationally, as all events are established on a historical antecedent of the nation. Dr. Shonibare made this known while speaking in Lagos at the book launch of History for Primary Schools in Nigeria. According to him, history has gone beyond computation of events but exposes the various aspects of Nigerian history with intent to foster unity and create national role models for the upcoming generation. The author of the Nigeria History for Primary Schools, Prince Olalekan Quadri, said the integration of history into the curriculum would not only be of value to the students but all and sundry. He emphasized the need for history to return to the Nigerian syllabus across all levels of education and for the awareness to be created that history is a subject on its own, not to be combined with any other, but to be taught as it is. On the issue of copyright, the publisher Dinei Victoria said piracy is one of the ailments that would continue to deal with Nigerians. However, the book has been produced with very high quality, which would make it impossible for the book to be pirated. Recall that the history of teaching of history was banned in 1982 for primary schools and later brought back in the system in 2017.
Has also become a part and parcel of history for us now, and this is very, very important as well. I'm saying that so that when you are looking at the concept of history, you will not look at it vaguely that we have today.
We are still making the mistake of the past. That means we are allowing history to repeat itself. Allowing history to repeat itself is what is causing crisis in Nigeria today. You see, leaders, they don't learn from the past. And so that is why leadership crisis is with us in Nigeria today. But the essence for us now is to bring back history so that people will learn. When they learn, they will now use it, because history is fun. It also teaches what? Values.
What those people that pirate the book, what they normally do is that if they see your book this way, they will go and make a photocopy of it, and merely looking at it, you will know that this is a pirated book. But the way we do our book is that if you look at it, we make our book to have a very good quality that at least, if at all, if they try, they will find it very hard to do.
The district governor of the Lions Club, District 404B2, Kayode Oshinoga, has a short 6-month account of stewardship since he assumed the leadership of the office in the month of July for the 2021-2022 Lions service year. Membership training, which equips them for everyday activities as well as leadership training for effective leadership. He added that the leadership in a service to humanity have been continuous dedication of their time, talent and treasure to the less privileged. Among all the 5 core projects for the Lions Club, which includes diabetes, vision, environment, childhood cancer and feeding the hungry, he affirmed the much impact in the area of vision had been most fulfilling projects.
The entire month of July was for us to prepare ourselves for the task ahead. We put our cabinet together. We had leadership trainings for our officers. We also had training for club officers, because it's such a massive project. I would discover that it's not only it will be useful for those who have diabetes to also benefit, to be seen under that roof, right? So it is very, very instructive that of all these projects, all of them are very dear to me, but I think we've made much more impact in the area of vision.
A human rights group has demanded justice over the alleged illegal invasion of Orioke-Ajala in Makoko area of Yaba, Lagos State in 2018, calling on the state government to wade into the matter. The national president of the Center for Human and Socio-Economic Rights, CDHR, Alex Omotense, made the appeal at a news conference in Lagos. He said the alleged victims were unlawfully treated, just as he alleged that on the 10th of May 2018, the State Task Force on Land Grabbing mobilized policemen to invade the Ark of the Apostles Church, Orioke, Temidire, Yaba. According to him, the State Director of Public Prosecutions need to charge the case to court in the interests of justice.
The CHSR and other well-winning civil society organizations ably represented here today hereby demand that the Office of the Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, Lagos State, should, as a matter of urgency, mandate the DPP to charge the matter to court of competent jurisdiction in the interest of justice, as to restore hope for the deceased and the wounded victim. Yes, we won't mind to defy the government order on my Omicron and stage another mass protest to barricade the Ministry of Justice.
Let those who took part in that operation be in court. Let the courts strike out the case. Let the courts hear. In fact, you see, one of the things we do when we say judgment, judgment is multi-dimensional to us, to the victims, to the witness, to the family, to the community, to the society. Let us get to know that anything you do as law enforcement officer, you have to be transparent.
Because the Black Marias was struggling to come into the gate. We now announced that what happened. Before I knew it, I saw a bunch of policemen. At my right, on my left, I saw a bunch of thugs wearing this color, apron, this purple color. Some of them were showing me different types of guns.
The Nigeria creative industry says the sector has contributed over $10 billion to the country's GDP in 2021. Players in the industry disclosed this at its patrons dinner organized to celebrate icons and patrons in Lagos. Our correspondent Haruna Jimo has details as presented from our studio. According to the Jobberman research, the creative sector currently employs an estimated 4.2 million Nigerians, making it the second largest employer in the Nigerian economy and has the potential to create an additional 2.7 million jobs by 2025. This is further underlined by a recent report on Nigeria's creative industry, which showed that the industry is positioned as the second largest employer of labor. Players in the industry said there is no doubt that Nigeria's creative sector holds tremendous potential to unlock Nigeria's economy and increase employment opportunities for young people.
Able to do that and create 5 or 6 or 7 organizations that will genuinely look for talents in your creative industry. Apart from supporting existing talents, they genuinely look for talents, let them to develop. You will not need to go have a cap in that begging anybody to see to the welfare of them.
The national president, Felix Duke, said the sector is expected to deliver over $10 billion by the end of 2021, making a tremendous contribution to the country's GDP.
To Nigerian GDP, of course, we know. Even during Jonathan's time, we know that everyone was aware that the Nigerian creative industry added to the GDP. Even till now, we all know that the Nigerian creative industry has put Nigeria on the map all over the world. When it comes to music, when it comes to film, when it comes to fashion, when it comes to, even dancing.
Other members called on the government to remain committed and determined to provide more support to the industry towards building on the foundation already laid for sustained long-term growth. The group said it will continue to work with all stakeholders to give the creative industry the attention it requires for improved contribution to GDP, wealth and job creation.
In a bad light, what's the light? What's the light we put our own? It is the same way you complain about our own, it's the same way their own people complain about their own. But because you're not patriotic enough to defend what you have, I want to ask you one question. What's the difference between Harry Potter and the witchcrafting we are doing here? There's no difference. What's the difference between Hammer House of Horror and the juju thing we are doing? There's no difference. But because you have a colonial mindset, you refuse to accept your own. That's what is happening to you. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Around you, because of the young people, our name is still worth something. It's the young people that are making us proud. And I've always said that the salvation of Nigeria lies in the hands of its exceptional people. And that's got to be the youth, the young ones. So yeah, they're contributing a lot to the economy. If we had a government or a better government, then maybe things would have blossomed a bit more.
If not for the music, everybody by now will be tearing each other apart. So the music and entertainment has brought succor to the minds of people. It calms people down because the level of poverty is so damn high. And so people are agitating, people are restless, people are aggressive, and so if not for music, I don't know where we would have been by now.
Lagos, in anticipation of the 7-day Creative Industry Group Festival coming up on the 6th of February down to the 13th of February 2022, promises to be a mind-blowing event. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll look at stories from the foreign scene. Welcome back. Hundreds of people braved sub-zero temperatures in Afghanistan's capital to queue outside the passport office earlier on Sunday, a day after the Taliban government announced it would resume issuing travel documents. Many began their wait the previous night and stood most patiently in a single file, some desperate to leave the country for medical treatment, others to escape the Islamists' renewed rule. Tense Taliban personnel periodically charged crowds that formed at the front of the queue and at a nearby roadblock. The local branch of the Islamic State group, the Taliban's principal enemy, killed more than 150 people in late August when citizens massed at Kabul airport in a desperate bid to leave during the early days of the new regime. Mohammed Osman Akbari, 60, said he was urgently trying to reach Pakistan because of dilapidated hospitals at home were unable to complete his heart surgery. And the Netherlands has begun a strict lockdown over COVID-19 during the Christmas over the concerns the Omicron variant would spread. Non-essential shops, bars, gyms, hairdressers and other public venues are closed until at least 14th of January. 2 guests per household will be allowed for over the holidays. Prime Minister Mark Rutte said the measures were unavoidable and countries across Europe have been tightening restrictions as the heavily mutated variant spreads. The new rules in the Netherlands are the strictest to have been announced over Omicron so far. And voting has begun in Hong Kong's Legislative Council elections, the first such poll since China made sweeping reforms to the process. In March, officials approved this controversial Patriots resolution, which drastically cuts the democratic representation and allowed Beijing to veto a candidate. Leaders in Hong Kong have insisted a change is needed to ensure stability, but critics say it has weakened democracy in the city. It comes after China introduced the national security law, making it easier to punish pro-democracy protesters following massive demonstrations on the territory back in 2019. Polls opened at 8:30 local time and will close at 22:30. Full results are not expected until Monday. And still to come on the news tonight is sports stories. Please stay tuned. Welcome back. Reigning champions Manchester City recorded their 8th successive Premier League victory as they swept aside struggling Newcastle United at St James Park. The league leaders were gifted a 5th-minute opener as Newcastle defender Ciaran Clark failed to attack João Cancelo's hooked cross, and Ruben Diaz had a simple task to head City ahead. City doubled their lead in the 27th minute when Cancelo collected the ball 35 yards out, beat 2 Newcastle players and fired an unstoppable strike into the top corner from outside the penalty area. Riyad Mahrez scored his 50th Premier League goal for the club in the 63rd minute, superbly volleying in Alexander Zinchenko's cross for City's 3rd. Newcastle remains 19th in the table, 3 points behind 17th place Watford, and only goal difference keeping them above bottom club Norwich City. And COVID-19 hit Chelsea slipped further behind leaders Manchester City in the Premier League title race as they were held to a goalless draw at Wolverhampton Wanderers. The visitors had a request for the fixture to be postponed because of a coronavirus outbreak, rejected on Sunday morning, with manager Thomas Tuchel saying they were a bit angry with the decision. Consequently, the Blues named just 4 outfield players on the bench at Molyneux. The first 6 were still strong enough to be competitive, but they struggled to create as they were held to a second successive draw. Daniel Podence had an early goal ruled out for offside as Wolves enjoyed the better of the opening period, but in foggy conditions, chances were few and far between. That's it on the news at 6 on MITV. Join us again at 9 o'clock for our primetime news. I am Tomi Sin Ojo. Good evening.